I mean, I have literally done consultations with authors who make 8 figures a year and were not aware of some of the things I was talking about that are in this foundational class, which I found absolutely mind-blowing.
For those that don't know me and you're tuning into this to learn all about what it's like to go wide and all of that stuff, we've got a great session for you today. I have a special guest speaker with me, Erin Wright. I've been following along with Wide for the Win group for a while, and she is their fearless leader, among others who rise to the occasion, who are doing all kinds of things outside of Amazon, not just with Amazon. And so we're going to talk about that today. What does it mean to go wide? We have Erin here with us. She's going to talk a little bit about that because in this author work group, we are learning and doing pre-launch preparations now. So one of the things we need to decide is, are we going to be exclusive with Amazon? Are we going to go wide? And so you really need to have that foundation. So thank you so much, Erin, for joining us. I'm going to hand it over to you and let you get started.
My name is Erin Wright. I have been publishing since the fall of 2016. I write romance, sexy cowboys specifically. I live in Idaho, and my books are all set in Idaho. They're set in a real place. All the sexy men are, unfortunately, just figments of my imagination. So I am a full-time author. This is what I do. And I started offering consultations and such one-on-one in 2020. I had a lot of people asking for individualized help. And so I started doing that back in 2019, almost 4 years to the day. It'll be 4 years at the end of this month. We started Wide for the Win Facebook group. So if you have not already joined that, you absolutely should. There's about 14,000, just over. We're getting up there. It's crazy in terms of size. So be sure to join us there. We'd love to have you. So let's talk about some definitions real quick, because this is probably the thing that confuses people the most, is at least when they first start hearing these words and they're like, what does it mean to be wide? What does it mean to be in KU? What are we talking about here? So there is a program that Amazon runs called Kindle Unlimited. That is what the readers see. So when you hear people saying abbreviations, the abbreviation of KU, they're referring to Kindle Unlimited. Technically, if you are a KU author, you are actually enrolling your books in KDP Select. So that is another phrase that you will hear. KDP Select and Kindle Unlimited, they're basically the same thing. So if you hear one or the other at all, it's all the same dealio. So what happens is Amazon, let's back up the train for a sec. Number one, this is the most important. What we're about to discuss in terms of being exclusive versus being wide is only to do with ebooks. Okay. I cannot tell you how many times I've had questions about but what about my audiobooks? Can I put those I'm exclusive. What do I do? It doesn't matter. If you translate your books into other languages, completely different book. It has no bearing on your English ebooks that are published on Amazon. That's all that KU that we're going to be talking about tonight. That's all that it intersects with. So print books, completely different. You can publish them wherever. Audio, you can publish wherever. In terms of ebooks and ebooks only, Amazon has this program called KDP Select or Kindle Unlimited. So what the program is where the reader pays, I want to say it's $10 a month if you're in the US, for basically, think of your Chinese buffet, right? All you can eat, you just go down and stuff your mouth till you're full and then waddle off into the sunset. So it's the ebook version of that. The readers pay $10 a month, and then all of the books that are enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, they can read those books. They have a limit of 10. They may have recently raised it, but anyway, 10 books in their library that they can hold on to or that they can have in their personal library at any given point. But once they hit that max, they have to turn some books in order to check more out. So a lot like a library, but being run through Amazon instead of your local public library. And you do pay taxes for your local public library, but it isn't normally a monthly fee that you pay, out of your checking account in that way. So definitely differences. Anyway, so the reason why this is such a big deal in the author world is that Amazon has an exclusivity clause. And this means that if you have your books enrolled in KU, your ebooks, you cannot have those ebooks published anywhere else. Okay, so you can't publish your ebooks on Apple or Google or Kobo or Barnes and Noble. You can't publish them to libraries. You can't publish them on your own website. You can't even give them away for free to your newsletter subscribers. If you enroll your book into KU, it has to be exclusive to purchasing as an ebook off Amazon.com. It's the only way that people can get it, or they can read it through KU. The end. They can absolutely purchase it, just so we're clear. But if you're wanting to be in your local library, or if you're wanting to give it away to your readers from your newsletter or sell it off your own website, any number of different things, you cannot do any of that. If you get caught doing this, which there's always those authors who are like, oh, I can figure it out. I can get around it. And then they'll change character names. They'll change the title of the book. And all sorts of hoops. And if Amazon finds that you're doing that, then they not only kick you out of KU and keep all of your page reads that you got paid, but you also don't have an account on Amazon to publish anymore. They take it very seriously. So please don't try to get around it. Like, there's nothing but sadness down that road. Either be in KU or be wide, but don't try all the above. So for a moment, just so that everybody's clear, let's discuss how you're paid if you're in KU. So if somebody buys your book off Amazon and your book is enrolled in KU, that you will get paid a normal royalty amount. You're going to get 70%, just like you normally would, minus their delivery fee. If somebody reads the children's book through KU, then you get paid per page that is read. So there is a flat rate that they announce every month for how much is the page read amount for the month. And it makes pi look like a short number. It's super long. It's like 20 digits long, and it starts usually with 4 cents, but then it goes out from there. I have no idea where they're getting this number from. So it's hard with y'all because honestly, children's books, unless you are writing like upper middle grade, getting into YA, ebooks are not probably going to be a large part of your business. There will be people who will check out an ebook to see if they like it and then turn around and buy the print book. But a lot of your sales are going to be coming from print. So honestly, in terms of whether you should be wide or not, I don't see much reason for y'all to be in KU. And I don't just say that because I'm the queen of wide. I know I am not unbiased in this topic. I am very happy to admit that's true. But specifically for y'all, they pay you per page. Children's books are very, very short. You will make way less than you would if someone were to just buy your book. And it will keep you from being found via libraries and things like that, which, like I said, a lot of parents will check out ebook, see if they like it, and then buy the print book or request the print book for their library. You won't have any of those sources of visibility if you are exclusive to KU with your ebook. And in return, you are literally going to be making a couple of pennies every time somebody downloads and reads your book. Like maybe a quarter. I just don't see how that's a good deal for you guys. So, like I said, I may be biased, but at least in this regard, maybe I'm missing something really important. It's always possible, but yeah, it doesn't seem like a great deal. So with that in mind, you will want to publish your ebooks on all of the platforms, especially making sure that you are getting into the libraries. And then you will, more so than that, want to make sure that you are getting your print books wide. So print is going to be super important for you. You guys are going to become very good friends with Ingram Spark, whether or not you want to become friends with Ingram Spark. And yeah, so I can definitely talk a lot about print books. But in terms of ebooks, my very best suggestion is for y'all to go wide, and it's going to be basically a flip-flop. For me, I make like 90-something% from ebooks. Y'all are probably going to be making 90-something% from print books. Right. So you're going to be the opposite from me.
When you say go wide, get your, publish your ebook everywhere, can you be specific on where is everywhere for ebook?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Some days I've been in this world for so long. I just sort of my brain. Okay. So there are 5 major ebook platforms. And then there are a lot of smaller platforms and libraries and other things like that. But in terms of ebooks, Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Apple. Those are your big 5. And I actually have a handout that I would be happy to send along to April that has links for each of these ebook platforms so that you can easily click and go sign up. So there are the sign up links for each platform. So there you got the 5 major platforms. Then you have the libraries and the smaller storefronts. So for the most part, with one exception that I'll talk about in just a second, the libraries and the smaller storefronts don't take this personally, but us authors are kind of pains in the asses. And so they are not particularly fond of dealing with tens of thousands of us at the same time. And so they will only work with the distributor. A distributor is a company that you upload your ebook to them, and then they turn around and they send it to all the different places.
Draft to digital,
all the rest of the places.
Distributor.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. So now that Smashwords and Draft to Digital are merging, they are one and the same. There are 2 other distributors out there. Honestly, unless you are writing in a foreign language, there's not going to be a great reason for any of you guys to publish on the other distributors. So we'll just keep it very simple. You only have to worry about Draft to Digital. Congratulations. They're the easiest to work with. So yay. So unless you translate your books into Hungarian, in which case reach out to me and I'll talk to you about the other distributors. But I think y'all are okay. So you're going to use Draft to Digital to get to the smaller storefronts and the libraries. And so, there are so many libraries out there: Palace Marketplace, Hoopla, Baker and Taylor, Biblioteca, Overdrive. Oh my God, the list goes on. Library in a Box, all sorts of things. So that's going to end up being a fairly significant portion of your guys' income for ebook sales, I would think. So there is one exception. There is one place that you can go kind of direct in terms of libraries and smaller storefronts, and that's Overdrive. So just a quick jump back in history here. Overdrive and Kobo used to be owned by the same parent company, Rakuten. It's this giant company out of Japan. So Rakuten owned Kobo and Overdrive. So they were sister companies. And at that point, Mark Leslie Lefebvre was in charge of Kobo Writing Life. And he reached out to Overdrive at the sister company, and they did this big negotiation where basically if you go to Overdrive through Kobo, then you get the same royalties that you would if you were to go directly to Overdrive. So you're not going to lose anything in terms of distribution fees. Let's back up for a second. Distributors are awesome because they get you to all the different places, but they don't do it for free. They are going to take a percentage of each of your sales. So it's basically 10% of the gross. So if your book sells for $4.99, then they're going to take 49 cents, 50 cents of each sale that happens. So you're never in the hole. You never owe them money. They just take a portion before they send the rest along to you. So in terms of Overdrive, If you were to go to Overdrive through Kobo, you don't lose anything in terms of royalties. If you go to Overdrive through Draft Digital, you're going to make slightly smaller royalties. At 10% is going to come off the top. However, the reporting on Kobo is really terrible, like super terrible. I can't describe to you guys how terrible it is. Okay. I want you to think of like a dumpster fire and then just pour gasoline on it. All right. And they keep saying, oh, we're going to fix it. And in terms of Overdrive sales, they have not fixed it. So if you are big into reporting and that really matters to you, then you are absolutely going to want to go through Draft Digital. If every penny matters to you and you're not going to give up anything without absolutely having to, then you're going to want to go through Kobo. What you are not going to want to do is go through both. So this is Kobo's dashboard. So this is where I'm publishing. I'm in the ebooks tab. And under rights and distribution, it is right here, available for libraries in Overdrive. And it's just a toggle button. And then under Draft Digital, hey, look, I have the same book up. How convenient. I was messing around with this book earlier today. Let's get in. Come on. Thank you. Okay. And when you scroll down, library services. So down here, you uncheck mark Overdrive, right? Or vice versa, whichever direction you want to go. And then these are the other libraries, Biblioteca, Baker and Taylor, Hoopla, Borrow Box, not Borrow Book. I always want to say it's library in a box or something. It's not, it's Borrow Box, excuse me, and Palace Marketplace, or the library ones. So yeah, you're going to just make sure it's stupidly easy to be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go to Overdrive, and then you switch over here like 3 days later, and you're like, oh yeah, I want all the library ones, and you don't realize you're check marking the same place twice. So just be careful, because a confused mind says no. If you have the same book on Overdrive twice, then a librarian is going to think something is wrong, and they are going to not buy it at all because they don't understand why there's two copies. And so confused mind says no. And they're like, okay, I'll pick something else that isn't weird. So go direct through Kobo or go through Draft Digital. You can also use Draft Digital to get to the 5 major platforms. So you can use Draft Digital you could use them to get to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, Kobo. I lied. You can't use them to get to Google Play. So you can get to 4 out of the 5 major platforms through Draft Digital.
If you're trying to simplify things and you just want as few things to set up as possible, you might go through Draft Digital, but you will have to pay a fee to them in order to do that, right? Instead of going direct. Is that what you...
Yeah. So I'm thinking as I talk, I think honestly, you guys are the first group of children's authors that I've ever done I've done one-on-ones with children's authors, but I've never done a big group like this. So I'm used to talking to people who write like thriller novels. And so then the answers are very different. But because ebooks are probably not going to be a big part of your sales, and because a lot of going direct to the different platforms is getting access to the in-house promotions, which I don't typically see in-house promotions for children's book authors, I actually don't know that it's really worth it for you guys to be going direct to all the various platforms unless you really want to maximize every penny. It's more work, just so you know. So unless you're really planning on pushing your ebooks, I don't know that I would do it. And I honestly would probably skip Google Play because Google Play is the most complicated. And it's also the one that you cannot get to through Draft Digital. And unless you are just love complications, Google Play can be the one that if somebody's going to skip a storefront, it's going to be Google. So it's not the worst ever, but it's not fun. It's gotten better, shockingly enough. When I first started, it was awful, but now it's not quite that bad, but it's still not nearly as easy to use as virtually any other platform.
Why should authors go wide? It's simple to just kind of do Amazon and Ingram Spark and we're good. And we do have some benefits, especially with an initial launch of putting things in KDP as, KDP Select, because we're often using launch teams and we want to use those free promotional days. We're stacking promos and those kinds of things help us launch well. But one of the things that I recommend is that, after the 90 days of your launch, you can absolutely take yourself off of KDP Select and then go wide. So, I know that that's something different than what you usually address, but just give us an idea of benefits of going wide versus just sticking with Kindle Unlimited.
So you're definitely going to make more if you go wide, because Kindle Unlimited pays you so very little because they are paying you per page and children's books are short. So I'm going to say that it would be rather painful, I would think, money-wise, to be in KU as a children's book author. So what you were just talking about in terms of a launch team and such, is there a way to do what you were talking about without having the author being in KU? So you say that you've got a street team and there's free books and such. Talk to me about your launch strategies that you were normally telling your authors to do.
Yeah. So normally we're looking, there's a good number of them that are launching with a free ebook for their launch team. And that way, let's just say I've got 100 people on my launch team. I'm going to warm them up, let them know when my book is launching. They're all on board. Now I'm moving forward and I'm launching my book. I set it for free for a period of 2 or 3 days, maybe 5 days. And I'm stacking promos and driving a lot of traffic. But my launch team is there to get the free copy of the ebook. And say at least half of them are going to give me reviews. So I might have 50 reviews before my print book even launches. And that can be a big lift. So that's some of the ways. Now, yes, if you're not in Kindle Unlimited, you could still do that and say, I'm going to set my book to 99 cents or $1.99. Go, you guys that are on the launch team, you'll get it for $1.99, and it's normally going to be $6.99 or $8.99. So you can do that. It may be it's just not as compelling for, people are going to have to pay for the book. And so usually having a free ebook for them is more of an incentive. So you just have to position it a little bit differently. That's all.
Okay. So when I launch my books, I also have an ARC team and I do send them copies for free. I just don't give it to the public for free. So I send my ebooks through BookFunnel. There's also a company called Booksprout. And this way the book is paid on the platforms. So people who find your books are paying for them. And then the people who you're wanting to review your books, as an incentive for them to review it, you give it to them for free. And hopefully they write a nice review for you, but they don't have to be getting it for free from the platform. They get it through Booksprout or BookFunnel. Both of them do the same thing. And
so it is unverified reviews though, if they do review it on Amazon?
Yes, it comes through as unverified. That's true. The thing to know about it is that unless you're getting a bunch of reviews that are verified, that are really low, if all of your reviews are unverified, they're all unverified. I don't know that that really hurts you in any way. The only thing that takes into consideration verified and unverified is if you have 1,000 reviews, then they are going to take the unverified and give them a little bit less oomph in terms of your star rating. So let's say that you have 1,000 reviews and most of them are unverified and all of them are 5-star. Then you have some that are verified and those are all 1-star. Your overall star rating would be quite low because they're going to give more oomph behind verified ratings than unverified reviews. Excuse me. Other than that, unless you can think of a reason why you would be so lopsided like that, hopefully all of the unverified wouldn't be 5 stars and unverified would be, there's something that's gone radically wrong if they're that lopsided from each other.
How long have you been going wide with your books?
2017.
One thing that always amazes me when I'm in the Wide for the Win group is when they share, like, this is my pie of all of my ebook sales and how small that section of Amazon is compared to all the others. I would love to have an opportunity for you to talk about that and like where your sales are. I know it's a different genre, but if you have an opportunity to show that pie chart and kind of show people how you're, how do you keep track of all of those sales? Because that to me seems like a nightmare as well. And if there are ways that can help us as we're considering whether or not to move forward, then it would be wonderful to know that.
Absolutely. I did want to say real quick, just so you know, you can absolutely put your book to free on Amazon if you are publishing wide. So if you want to launch out of the gate and have your book be free, that's absolutely a thing. You simply have to put it free on the wide platforms. Then you go to Amazon and you ask them to price match. They drop the price for you to free. I have 2 books that have been free on Amazon since 2018. So then they just stick there. They just stay free. And then I have promotions and such going on all the time for them. So that part isn't necessary to be in KDP Select. The difference is that when you are in KU, you are able to simply go in and say, I want my book to be free. Amazon doesn't want to make it that easy for wide authors because they want to punish people for being wide because they're kind of assholes. So you have to make it free on the wide platforms. And then you have to have Amazon price match and say, yep, it's free over there. So we're going to make it free here. And I actually have directions in Wide for the Win on how to do that.
And you would do that if you have a series with lots of them. You might put your first book free so that you can get the read through for the rest, right? That would be a good reason to do that.
Yep, absolutely. So I was just thinking in terms of your launch strategy where you wanted to be free right out of the gate for a couple of days, you can absolutely still do that even if the book is wide.
The only problem I've seen with that is that Amazon, if you have them price matched to $0, they will not change it very often. You have to, you may have to leave it for months before they'll actually allow you to go in and request it to be a price change back to like something that would be more normal price. They don't usually match for a short period of time.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that and say that's not accurate. So the best thing to do is to have links from the various platforms because all you're doing is showing Amazon, hey, you need to make sure that your price is the same price as these platforms over here.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. So you can do that, but once they put it down to $0, to have them, go back to a regular price, that's usually the problem.
Okay, you just do the same thing again. You put the price back up on the wide platforms, then you go back to Amazon and you say, hey, my book is paid on the other platforms. You should make it paid here. And they return it back to paid.
Okay. So you've done that in short order and that hasn't been an issue? Because I know it's been a while. It's probably been maybe 3 or so years, but I had a really hard time with that. So maybe it's something new. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Amazon used to be a pain in the patootie, even bigger than they are now, shockingly enough. How that is possible, I don't know, but they used to be a lot worse about price matching.
Okay.
They have gotten a lot better about it. So I don't typically change my books back and forth from free to paid quickly. If I get a book bub, then I'll leave my price paid for a month. Free for a month and then switch back to paid. But as soon as I make the requests, they're changing it. We're talking sometimes within 10 minutes, it's done. So I can't guarantee that. Please don't come to my house and throw, rotten tomatoes at my front doorstep. But that is definitely, they've gotten a lot faster about it and they've gotten a lot less persnickety and yucky about it.
That's good to know.
Okay. So you were wondering about golly gee whiz. How my pie and how it's
beautiful pie chart. How do you keep track of all that data and, seeing, just getting a sense of what's selling and how, and where it's selling and all of that.
Absolutely. So there is a company out there called Scribe Count, and I can certainly send you guys a link in the follow-up email. I will happily include that link for them. They are basically the best platform out there for wide sales reporting. There are other platforms out there that only do Amazon, but if you are wanting to know your sales across a wide variety of places, all on one dashboard. Scribe Count's pretty much it right now. There are some other places that I'm working with, doing some beta testing for them and such to try and help them get their products out the door, but that isn't happened as of yet. So with me personally, I have, in terms of my ebooks, I should be clear about that, about 45% of my income roughly comes from Amazon, and the remaining 55 comes from the other platforms. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of audio, my numbers are very heavily skewed wide. I probably make 90% of my audio from wide platforms rather than Audible. And in terms of paperbacks, and print books, I make a lot more from Ingram Spark than I do Amazon. So overall, I'm not super reliant upon Amazon, which is very much the point. For me, that's very much the point, because they kind of terrify me a little bit.
One of the reasons why someone might consider going wide is because if we put all our eggs in one basket and we're so dependent on Amazon, and then something changes or their algorithm isn't, favoring what we're doing, then we're really at their mercy, right? So I think it's very wise to consider in your strategic plan how to be less dependent on any one platform.
Yes. And I feel like that's actually really important. It isn't so much that I am against being exclusive to Amazon. I am just against being exclusive to anybody for any reason ever. So it's just not in my genetics. I started out, I was in the library world before I became an author. I was in the library world for 7 years, including 18 months as a library director. And so when I very first started publishing, I was in KU because that's what they told me to do. And that was the only place you could make any money. So of course, that's where I'm going to publish my books. And then I found out that my books couldn't be in the local library. And I was like, what? I'm not okay with that. And so I went wide back in 2017 before I didn't start Wide for the Win until 2019. And at the point that I went wide, I literally did not know another single author who was wide. I didn't know even the names of all the platforms to go to publish, but I was like, I will figure it out because I am that stubborn. So I learned everything the hard way. 1 star, do not recommend. But because of having the variety of income streams, that really helps. I have all sorts of things going on where I'm an affiliate for various Apple. People buy books on Apple through my ebook links, and I get paid for it. So I have affiliate income from Apple, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play. I have ebook sales from those platforms. I have ebook sales off my own site. I do direct sales. I also upload, and I think actually this could be really important for you guys. I take my print books and I upload them to Etsy. So if you go to Etsy and you do a search for Wright Hot Sexy Cowboys, but Wright like my last name, because I like puns, you will find all of my books are up on Etsy. Then I sell my paperbacks through there.
I wasn't sure that there was a lot of people actually selling books on Etsy, but I've discovered a few myself that I thought, wow, I didn't realize that was a thing. But yeah, it's still
So the thing is super easy from the management standpoint. So I'm going to start selling them directly from my own site just to have another revenue stream. I already sell my ebooks from my own site, but I'm going to start selling my audiobooks and my print books from my site. But I really like Etsy because you can say in the United States or wherever you live at that you want there to be free shipping. But if the person who is purchasing the books is outside of that country, then you want to charge XYZ in terms of shipping. So you aren't stuck, because sometimes international shipping can be super expensive. And you put in all the dimensions of your book and how much it weighs, and it will tell you how much it's going to cost to ship. And then that way you can account for that in the cost of your book when you are offering free shipping, right? And so I just ordered a bunch of all of my books and I have them in boxes and I'll get an order from Etsy. So there's Etsy. The other 2 places that I've currently got, it's rather stupid, but I have PAs who do all sorts of things for me. And one of the things I have a PA working on right now is getting my books onto eBay and then Biblio. So my e-print books are already on eBay. they're already on Biblio. They're being sold by some random third person, whoever. Mm-hmm. I might as well be the person selling them, right? So my print books will be going up for sale in those places here very shortly. So Wright, Hot Sexy Cowboys, because I'm hilarious. And then I just have all of my books up, and you can see they're all marked as free shipping. And that's only if you are inside of the US. And then you can get reviews on there, and you can have people request that they will dedicate to my mother, whatever. So they can do that. And then they add to cart. And it works really smoothly. So I'm a big fan of Etsy.
So off topic, Nicole says, do you have a favorite breed of horse that you feature in your books?
Whoa, that's such a great question. I've actually never had that question. No, I don't. Okay, so funny story. If you guys see my picture online anywhere, I'm standing in front of old weathered wood, and there's some brands on the wall in the wood. That's actually my parents' farm. That's the barn, and the brand, the one that's in the shape of an S, is my grandfather's brand. So I grew up, I was very much a cowgirl, farm girl. And I live in a little tiny town in Idaho, 1,000 people. It's super exciting. So all of that to say, I'm actually not a big fan of horses. My grandparents' horses were awful, and they would buck you off, and they would bite you, and they'd step on you. And so I was never a big fan of horses. So yeah, I do put horses on the front of my cover sometimes just because people really like them, but
that's fun.
There's my confession for the day.
So Leslie asks, does this KU rule apply to KDP in general, specifically regarding the ability to give it away or selling it on your website? Not with print books, but you're saying that you're not allowed to do that with your ebooks.
Correct. Yes. So in there's a very big line between ebooks and print books and audiobooks and translations. They're all very separate from each other. In terms of KU and KDP Select and your ebooks, you cannot give that ebook away off your website. You can't sell it off your website. You can't give it to your newsletter subscribers. You can't. Just ask the question, and then the answer is you can't. If you are in KU, there are a lot of rules, very much on purpose. They want to make it so that they are trying to basically replace libraries, right? So they want people to use Amazon and KU to get their books instead of a patron going to their local library. They make it impossible for you to put your books anywhere else. The only exception to that rule of you can't is for ARC teams. So you can, even if you are in KU, send out your ebook via BookFunnel or BookSprout to get reviews for it. And so that's totally a thing. But other than that, you can't.
Tonya says, I heard you have to upload consistently in Etsy to be found there. Is that correct?
I don't know. Honestly, with Etsy, it's very keyword driven. So if you switch back and you look at my books, you'll see that I have pretty keyword heavy titles. So I'll show you guys real quick what I mean. Accounting for Love by Erin, Wright. Cowboys of Long Valley Romance, Book 1. Sexy contemporary cowboy opposites attract Western romance. Woo! The titles are very important. So having those keywords in there so that when people go up to the top and are doing searches, they can find it. And then it's also just a really easy way to put out onto social media. If you've got family or friends who want to support you and want to buy your books, if you buy a bunch of your books for fairly cheap, you can send them out and you make more per sale than if they were to go to, say, Barnes & Noble and buy your print book. And then you just send them a link to your Etsy store. Everybody's very comfortable with Etsy. It isn't weird and scary. Sometimes selling off your own website can be a little bit that way where people are like, well, but I don't really know, but Etsy, everybody knows Etsy. So you can just send them to your Etsy store and they can buy from there.
I'm on KU. How do I know when my time is up to go wide? So Kathleen, I can answer that. If you go into your Kindle Unlimited, if you go into that page where you've signed up, and you can take it off of auto renew, and you'll see when it expires. So naturally, it's going to automatically renew every time when you sign up and you're part of Kindle Unlimited. So you have to make a point of saying, do not auto renew. So it's every 90 days that it'll auto renew.
Yeah. And just so you know, you do have the ability, some people aren't aware of this, but if you reach out to Amazon and you say that you would like to get out of KU early, it isn't guaranteed, it's up to them. But that is definitely something, again, they used to be really strict about that. And they would say, nope, you're in for the 90 days. Good luck. Now they will probably 99% of the time let you out early. So I've had people who think that they have to be in the whole time. You don't. So yeah, Joy, auto renew must be it, because it is always 90 days at a time. So
yeah, and it will just keep auto renewing as long as you're in it. But I did have an author say, whoops, this auto renewed. I didn't realize it was going to do that. Can you take me out? And they did. So yeah, I agree that is something that you can attempt and you can get it out of being exclusive. Yeah.
So if in the first 3 days of it auto renewing, you change your mind, you can email Amazon through the dashboard, the contact us page. They will 100% of the time let you get out. The first 3 days, it's like a free backsies, free, you can just get out and they're not going to give you any issues whatsoever. After the first 3 days, you can request, and there's a really good chance that they'll let you out, but it isn't guaranteed.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this time together. I think this was really helpful. And I hope you'll come back sometime, as we start looking at other things, other topics. I would love to have you back. I am also, by the way, before I let you go, I'm going to be attending your training that you're doing on going wide. So why don't you tell everybody what it is that you're doing and where they can go to check it out?
Yeah. So like I said, I started doing one-on-one consultations in December of 2020. And almost from the jump, I was booked out several months in advance. I think I'm only booked out 60 days right now, which is actually not that bad. I've been booked out as far as 6 months. And so there is only one of me. And unfortunately, I have not yet figured out how to duplicate myself. So I've decided, rather than teaching some of the things that I talk about in terms of foundational information about metadata, how to distribute to the various platforms, strategies for all that sort of thing, there's a lot of stuff that I found I was going over and over again with authors. From each consultation, I was constantly talking about these same core foundational issues. Because, I have literally done consultations with authors who make 8 figures a year and were not aware of some of the things I was talking about that are in this foundational class, which I found absolutely mind-blowing. But anyway, so they put a lot of money into Facebook ads. Just going to say that, which, by the way, I've literally never run a Facebook ad in my life. So if you're wanting information on how to do really well with those kinds of ads, I am not your gal. Anyway, I realized that it would do a lot better if I would teach these foundational pieces of information, the foundational topics, in a big class and get everybody up to a level so that when I do a one-on-one with them, we're not wasting time talking about this foundational stuff that I could just be teaching a big group all at the same time. So I have a foundational class. Once I finish up with those, I have 3 remaining. I'll have done a total of 5 by the time I'm done. Once I get through the 3 remaining foundational classes, I'm going to offer intermediate classes, and then I'm going to offer advanced classes. And so I have a website. If you go, let's see, I will drop it in the chat here. If you go to that website, authors is the page, you can either book one-on-one consultations with me, or you can find the foundational classes that I currently have the dates and times for. So wonderful. Yeah, I'm happy to help.
And the pricing was very reasonable. I was happy to join and looking forward to just refreshing, because I was wide for a while, and then I just started doing a lot of other things like coaching and started feeling like it was just too much to keep track of everything. So I kind of went back to the KDP Select. But so I figure it'll be a great way for me to renew a lot of knowledge and see what's happened since I've been in it. So I appreciate that. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope you really find it useful. To Kathleen, yeah, honestly, if you were saying, Erin, I want to go wide, but I want to minimize the amount of work that I'm having to do, what is the easiest way to go wide in terms of my ebooks? I would say go direct to Amazon and use draft to digital to get everywhere else. That's my best suggestion. And skip Google Play. If you want the easy button, that's as easy as it gets when you go wide. So
awesome. Thank you so much. Have a
you're welcome.
wonderful day. Check out other upcoming events. We've got a lot of great speakers just like Erin. Take care. Thank you so much, Erin.
All right. Bye.